Some people teach the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a manner that they actually cause despair in their audience or with their listeners. This is unacceptable. Fine, it is true that we do have to speak about the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but that should be coupled with mention of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we find in the Quran and the Sunnah, the methodology of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some people focus too much on the first element without speaking about the second element, and it can cause despair in their audience. This is unacceptable. What's worse still is when people say such and such a person can't be forgiven. If you do this, you cannot be forgiven. No. As long as a person is alive, there's always the possibility of the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if one repents sincerely. There's a hadith in Sahih Muslim where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Who is it that swears by me that I will not forgive such and such a person? I have forgiven him and I have rendered your deeds null and void." It is not permitted to speak on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's not acceptable to incite despair in people.